Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to Sports Scene on WLCS TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television. I'm Tim Alcorn. Great to have you back. And it's a thrill for me to be back as we talk more sports in the city of Lorain and about the Lorain High Titans. And we're going to talk a little volleyball on this edition of Sports Scene as the first-year head coach of the Lorain High Lady Titans on the volleyball floor. Capreece Irby joins us to talk a little bit about the program and about the girls and the season overall. So first off, let me congratulate you on being named the head volleyball coach. For folks here in Lorain or watching on the YouTube channel, and don't be nervous, but they can watch all over the world on the YouTube channel. But kind of give us your background and how you ended up being in Lorain and being the head volleyball coach of the Lady Titans.
Okay. I actually am a little familiar with Lorain. I have family from here, believe it or not. So when I was growing up, I was kind of back and forth, just visiting. So I'm familiar with a little bit of the area. But I started out playing volleyball in Sandusky. That's originally where I'm from, Sandusky, Ohio. I didn't actually start until about 7th grade. Yeah, and I just kind of fell in love with it from there. I was a basketball girl, a softball girl. I played all year round. But as soon as I picked up a volleyball, it was just like I hit the ground running. And then I played all 4 years varsity in high school. I played varsity as a freshman.
Wow.
As a middle blocker. And then I went on to play at Muskingum University for 2 years. But immediately I knew after college that I wanted to do more. It was hard for me to kind of step away from the game. Good for me in a way, for my mental health, but I knew that I still wanted to be around it in some capacity and kind of coach girls that are very similar to me. Coming up, obviously it's no secret that Sandusky's not really a volleyball school, so it's kind of hard to get those looks or get the funding that you need, as far as club volleyball, getting that exposure and different things. So
right. I
kind of wanted to be that resource for girls that I wish that I had coming up.
So tell us about your coaching background.
Oh, I love it. So I started out initially with basketball, believe it or not. Yeah.
Okay.
I started out as a junior high basketball coach, and as far as volleyball, I just started volunteering after I had my kids. I went back to Sandusky, where I'm originally from, where I graduated. And I started volunteering with them, just helping out the varsity coach who was there at the time with her attackers and her offense. And I started working a little bit with like the freshmen and JV, and they ended up bringing me on the next year as a freshman coach. So I spent 2 years down there, and I worked with the varsity offense as well, some of their attackers. And then I just kind of fell in love with it from there, and I knew that I wanted to do more than just like the freshman and JV level. I kind of wanted to have my own program and start my own foundation. So that's what landed me here.
So you mentioned you went to Muskingum.
Yeah.
Coming out of college, did you know, I want to coach? Now, maybe you didn't know it was volleyball at the time, but was that your career goal, that I want to be a head coach?
I think so. I didn't necessarily just, kind of wake up with that narrative in my mind, but I knew initially I wanted to help girls like me. I didn't know in what capacity. I didn't know if I was gonna, kind of train one-on-one. I didn't know if I was gonna kind of start my own club team, but I knew in some way, shape, or form I wanted to mold girls, young women, I should say, into, whoever they want to be. Not even necessarily volleyball, because to me it's bigger than volleyball. I'm molding young women for society. So I knew in some way, shape, or form I wanted to be in the gym helping girls.
I was intrigued by something you said earlier when you said as soon as you picked up a volleyball, as soon as you were on that volleyball floor, it became your passion. What do you love about the game? What is it that stoked that passion that you obviously still have?
Yeah, you know what? It's so intricate. I get asked this question a lot, believe it or not. They ask me, what makes volleyball harder or more difficult? And to me, it's so special because you need everyone on the floor to be successful, whereas kind of basketball, I guess you could you can take your star athlete and they can kind of take over the game in a way. But with volleyball, it's so distinct. It starts with the pass, and then you need your setter. As I compare it to football, it's like your quarterback, you know what I mean? And you have your attacker. So it's so versatile, and the communication, and just like the specializing of it all, and just the amount of time that it takes to really perfect the craft it becomes kind of addicting in a way.
I'm sure it does.
It does. It becomes kind of addicting. So I kind of fell in love with the chase and wanting more, and just watching the game evolve over time. It's evolved even since I was playing. It's faster paced. The offense is, everything is faster. Everyone's starting earlier. So I've also fallen in love with that and learning different things from people around me, which brings me to my assistant coach, Troy Howe. He is awesome.
What was the name again?
Troy Howe.
Troy Howe.
Yes, he's awesome. I've learned so much from him already, just based off of his experience alone. He's kind of taken me under his wing a little bit. He actually played professionally, and he played collegiate volleyball at Kent State. And he is just amazing. I can't rant and rave about him enough. And it's funny because we kind of bounce off of each other. Like, he listens to me and I listen to him, and it's just great to have him as an addition to my staff.
You mentioned the pace of the game. It's interesting. That's what I love about volleyball.
Yes,
there's never a slow time.
Never.
I mean, it is just back and forth.
Yes.
And so for the girls, how challenging is it to keep them focused for that pace of the game? Because you mentioned a couple other sports.
Yeah.
If you're on a basketball floor, the play can somewhat slow down, or certainly in softball, you're out in right field for 3 innings and nothing comes your way. But volleyball, you've got to be focused every single solitary second.
Single second.
How challenging is that to coach?
Honestly, it was one of our biggest challenges coming in. I'm not gonna lie. The whole preseason was pretty much working on communication and getting them to really, buy into working together and, leaning on each other and trusting each other and building that chemistry. We came up with so many different drills amongst us all, not even just my assistant, but Coach Rodriguez, Coach Bray, from freshmen on up, just working on, our communication and getting them, active throughout the entire match. And we still fall short to that sometimes. I think we've seen a little bit of that last night in our match against Maple. They're very easy to bring back together, but just keeping that consistency and that discipline amongst each other has become a real challenge for us this season. But I will say the growth in that, leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds. I can't rant and rave about them enough, honestly. And the best part about it is they crave it. They crave that structure and that discipline. We actually had a drill called no communication with them.
Really?
Yes. So we started out, believe it or not, I know when you watch volleyball, all you hear is girls screaming and calling out what they're running, and they never stop talking. So in order to get them to communicate, we actually had them silent. So they learned to trust each other's instincts. They learned, kind of how each other move, how they move amongst each other without saying a word. And then you allow one person on the floor to talk, another person on the floor to talk, and then eventually they're all, communicating. So it's kind of like a build-up. And I think that's something that they really enjoyed, and it kind of helped them learn that they need everyone, to be able to compete at the level that we want to compete at, versus, take away the me, but more so lean on the we.
That's really cool. That's an interesting drill. That's very, very interesting. So I want to ask you, because it kind of brings to my mind a question as far as coaching. As a head coach and a first-year head coach, I'm sure there were coaches that influenced you, whether it was your high school coach or a college coach or a coach that you were under as an assistant coach. So how much of those influencers have impacted how you coach, and then how much of it is, when I become a head coach, I want to do this? I'm always curious with coaches how that all comes together.
Yeah, I had an awesome varsity high school coach. Her name was Stephanie Hotz, and I believe she actually coaches a part of the Huron volleyball program, the Huron Tigers. I can't rant and rave about her enough. I actually reached out to her around the time I started coaching, just thanking her for everything she did for me and instilled in me. She literally taught me everything from just my position to just the mental side of volleyball, like you were mentioning earlier, just really staying focused and just becoming kind of like that machine that you have to be in order to go through those long matches, because it can get exhausting. It can really take a toll on your mental. But she taught me so much and just preached fundamentals to me, because I didn't have a lot of that when I was coming up. I was pretty much playing off of athleticism, which is what I see in a lot of our girls, actually. And she gave me kind of like the mental side and broke down the game to me in a way that I had never even knew existed.
Right.
So I am so thankful for her. And then on the other side of it, I actually had a college coach who kind of was on the other end of the spectrum. It was not such a fun experience.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But overall, I grew from it. You know what I mean? I grew from it. I learned, kind of like you said, what not to do and what I wouldn't want to do. In hindsight, what I wouldn't want for my own program. And I still reflect on a lot of the things that I went through to this day on how to handle conflict amongst my own program of, okay, Capreece, when you were, this age or making certain decisions, what did you need? Or what was said to you, or what would you have wanted someone to approach you, just to kind of help you and just, I want to be that sounding board for them, So I'm appreciative of it, believe it or not, I am.
So going back to that question, so the second part, what's the one thing that you've done that you've said, this is my stamp?
Yeah.
This is something that Capreece came up with. I didn't mean to stump you on that.
No, that's a tough question. As far as, what do you mean, my program?
Yeah, just when you said, when I become a head coach, I'm going to try this, or I'd like to do this. Can you think of something in that sense?
Well, maybe just my approach to, like I said, conflict amongst the girls.
Okay.
I mean, that's huge, especially with me coming into a new city, a new league. They didn't know, who I am. And there's 3 other coaches on staff who they're very familiar with. So I kind of didn't want to come in as like, okay, I'm the new head coach, I'm the this, because I received a lot of that. What I say goes, even if it's not going to be what's best for the program as a whole. So I learned kind of like to be humble, and really to be a better communicator, and with that even, taking some accountability on my end, even when it's tough, because sometimes, you wanna win the war, and sometimes it's more important to kind of reflect on what's really in the bigger picture.
What has been the biggest challenge of becoming a head coach? They always say that the biggest adjustment is when you go from the assistant's chair to the head coaching chair, because there's going to be things that you thought,
yeah,
man, I didn't know I was going to have to deal with this.
I know, and it's funny because this is a saying I hear all the time. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's
so
very true.
Sometimes I feel like, okay, we've done this and we've done this to prepare, and you go into something thinking one thing, and sometimes the cards don't fall in your favor, and that's life. So I'm learning how to, like I said, it's a very humbling experience, because at the end of the day, I'm still a competitor, so we want to win, we want things to work in our favor, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I think I'm learning that there's still growth in it all, and I'm trying to allow my girls to see that too, even when they're frustrated or, they want to play the blame game, because that becomes easy. It's not easy to hold yourself accountable and look at the stats week to week and look at the numbers and say, you know what, I didn't have a good game. I didn't help my team this match. There are some things that I need to work on. And with that too comes me. Sometimes I got to let them know, hey guys, that was a bad call on my end. Or hey guys, you know what, we should have worked, a little bit more on this. Or, next week, this is what we're going to do differently to prepare. Or even next season, I've, learned things that I even want to do coming into next year differently. So it's just a growing process.
Well, I certainly don't mean to just ignore what's happening this season.
No, you're fine.
So let's talk a little bit about the 22 campaign. All in all, how has it been going? How are the girls progressing as this season has gone along?
Honestly, I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud. Coming into this season, I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't really super familiar with our league, even though I've seen a couple of the teams play live. It's nothing compared to, coaching it and really, having that say-so, that control over it, being on the other side of it. But now where I'm sitting, we're 7-8, and we are 5-3 in the conference. So we're doing pretty well. We played the #1 team last night, Maple Heights. And when we saw them on the road for the first time, actually, that was such a fun match. It was so much fun. So when we saw them at home last night, we knew kind of what we were up for, and we were excited. It was the energy in the gym made it so much fun. I'm so thankful. Shout out to that student section because you guys helped us so much. It was so much fun. But yeah, so we knew kind of
cool. The kids got behind.
I was so excited. It was a luau theme, and they were just ranting and raving. And our girls buy into that. You know, believe it or not, who wants to play for like a dry crowd? So they help us out so much, and I'm so thankful for them. It's the little things, honestly, to us. But yeah, going into Maple, we knew it was going to be tough, but one of their best attackers was actually sitting last night. So she actually has a full ride to Cleveland State, I believe. And so she was out, and we took them down the first set easily. And came back the second set. Some things weren't working in our favor. We battled the whole way through, ended up tying it up a few times. And overall, we just kind of fell to our own errors. You know, I don't really think they did anything major to hurt us, if I'm being honest. I think we just kind of fell to those little things that we were talking about earlier, communication and just like working out the grooves with that and learning how to finish, you know. But one thing I am proud of is that they competed. They're learning what that means. At the beginning of the season, we kind of played a little bit of selfish volleyball, if I'm being honest. We played a little selfish. But now I'm starting to see them play for the greater cause, and it makes us so proud to see. Proud.
Just that growth.
Yes,
and that maturity.
That growth, that maturity. And I think they're starting to look at the game differently of what's successful and what's not so successful. And, you know, just taking a look at the score of like, okay, maybe I do need to kind of humble myself, you know, and kind of look at my stats week to week. And if coach is asking for us to do, you know, this certain offense or run this certain play or do this certain defense, or I'm just going to buy in and do it. So I think that's helping a lot.
You know, it's interesting. I had a chance to talk to Coach Creel on the football side, and he was talking about making winning plays and learning how to win. And I think if there's one thing that fans perhaps don't understand is that learning how to win is a skill set. I mean, and whether it's Coach Creel on the football side or you on the volleyball side, you know, whatever the sport, kids have to learn how to win. That's a learned skill set, and it's something that coaches have to instill. But in the end, once kids win that game they aren't supposed to win, or make that play that nobody thought they would make, that whole belief system then accelerates.
And that's kind of, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's kind of what I was hoping for last night. So after we, you know, won that first set, I was like, yes, they're finally, you know, the puzzle pieces are starting to align, you know, it's coming together. But I think we still have some work to do on that side, but I'm excited for it. I'm up for it, and I know they are too. We have a big game coming up Tuesday against Shaker. So I know we're really excited for that. They're a pretty good team too. So it's exciting to see the growth and just watch them day to day in practice work together and really, you know, ask all the right questions and be hungry for it.
Right.
You know, they're not shying away from it. So
that's awesome.
I'm excited for it.
Well, let's talk about the girls on the team, because obviously they're responding to your coaching, and as you said, putting together a very respectable season. So go through and talk about your girls and what they bring to the floor, and what you just think of them as far as volleyball players, but young ladies as well.
Okay. We honestly have some great upperclass. I'm going to start there because hands down, the best upperclassmen, the best seniors. I'm going to be so sad when they're gone. Natalie Patterson, Nakia Herman, my girl Nay. I just can't. I get emotional thinking about them because they honestly, and I can't forget Khalees. And Chrissy actually too, Chrissy Castro. She started out as a junior. I'll start there, and she actually put in to graduate early. So she's actually a part of our senior class now too. And just all of them, from practice to, you know, making sure that even our freshmen, you know, look up to them as far as, you know, what's supposed to be done from the time they walk into the door to the time they leave at night. They walk the walk from the classroom, you know, all the way around.
Awesome.
So it's truly amazing. And just even seeing the growth in them from, you know, where they started, because like I said, coming in, they were used to, you know, a different coach all those years, you know, and rightfully so. So having a new coach your senior year, I can't imagine how hard and difficult that must be to, you know, want to buy in. And they have, and they are just so respectful and so sweet and so hungry and aggressive and just so athletic and fun to coach. I just adore them.
Very, very cool. And as far as what they bring to the volleyball floor, if you want
Yes.
to kind of go through positions and who has
Natalie-
excelled on the floor?
Yes, Natalie's a middle blocker, and she actually is coming off of a major knee injury. She totally blew out her knee. So she missed her entire season last year. She came back and played some club. So I was kind of nervous, with her being a middle and kind of having that lateral movement. But
Right.
she has risen to the occasion. She started out a little bit slow at the beginning of the season, but last night she pounded off 11 kills and, has one of the most consistent blocks on our team. So with her leadership, and then we got Nakia Herman on the outside, just her aggressiveness, and she's so smart with her vertical, just getting up in the air and just pounding through seams. And then we got Khalees. Khalees is actually a pin hitter, so which is kind of, the best attacker to have in a way, because we can kind of put her anywhere on the floor. Believe it or not, she's so versatile. I love her. She can play outside, weak side. She's even stayed for one in the middle a couple times. And she's just one of those players where you're like, Khalees, I need you to do this today. And she's like, okay, coach, I got you. I've never done it before, but okay, I'll just do whatever you need me to do. And then we've got
That's
Nay.
a coach's dream.
I know, coach's dream. And we've got Nay. She actually started out as a middle. She was a middle last year. She kind of filled in for Nat a little bit, and we moved her over to the weak side. And her block has come through tremendously for us this season. So yeah, those are our seniors, and then can't forget about Chrissy. She's another one of our versatile players. She runs as a setter. We've tried to run her as a 5'1", but for now we're in a 6'2", so she's running as both an attacker and a setter for us right now. So love them to death.
Man, your passion for the sport and the girls just comes through, man.
I know.
There's just a vibe when you talk about these
I know, I
girls.
love them so much, and I can't forget my babies too, not just the seniors, but I do want to talk about Elissa Myrick. She's a setter for us this year. Nevaeh Edwards. We have Leasia Castro. She's a sophomore. She's our libero this year. So Araya, she's a DS for us. Natalia, a DS. We actually have Cheyenne Brown, who floats for us. She plays a little bit of JV, and she actually played all 4 matches for us last night against Maple. So we've got some depth. That's one thing that we do have on our side that I don't think a lot of the teams in our league have, is the depth in our bench. I tell them all the time that no matter what, I can look at every single one of them and know that I can put you on the floor and be comfortable with what you're going to bring to the table. And then that brought in as well Kenya Simpson. I know I talked a little bit about her earlier, but it was just kind of like the perfect storm. She came in from Elyria Catholic throughout the summer, transferred over. She started out as a middle as well, but we moved her over to outside, and this girl is just so athletic. Just puts the ball down, and I'm so excited for her senior year next year to have her. We only got 11 games with her, but she's still practicing with us and working really hard to hopefully have a great senior year next year.
So I asked you earlier about what was the biggest challenge being a first-year head coach.
Yeah.
What was the biggest lesson? What did you learn about being a head coach?
It doesn't. It's not going to happen overnight. The success isn't going to happen overnight. I came in just thinking like I'm going to do this and this and this, and you know what? I kind of had to
And then
learn.
this got in the way, and that got in the way.
this got in the way. Life got in the way. So I'm learning. Time. Give yourself time. Give yourself grace, and just be patient. It's funny because I tell them all the time, patience, and to just not bite off more than what you can chew. Just focus on the task at hand, and just don't get so easily rattled. But I kind of got to remind myself of my own advice a little bit, that I know I want so much for them, and it's great to have, super high expectations, and I don't want to lower those expectations at all. But I kind of got to, be realistic with myself and see the growth in it all, and just see that there is some positivity to what's going on, regardless of what I wanted, because who doesn't want to be number one? Who doesn't want to win a conference title their first year? That's always the goal. But at the end of the day, just looking at it, I'm proud at where we're sitting right now. I'm proud of my girls.
And to wrap things up, it's a perfect segue into how we'll close this out. Still plenty of volleyball to play this year, so I'm not going to ask you to look too far down the road. But where do you see the future of the program, and what are your goals for the future of the program?
Our goal ultimately would be, the best team in our conference overall. Hope to be. You can't tell me I can't rant and rave about them. enough. I think I truly have the best team in this conference. I do.
Okay.
Regardless of what the record reflects, I truly do. Because my girl, they work so hard, and I feel like they try to earn it every single day. I know our record and our wins don't always reflect that, but I tell them all the time, it'll come. If you keep that work ethic and that grit and that day-to-day grind that I know that they have in them, it'll come. But looking forward, I hope to eventually maybe go downstate with my coaching career.
There's been Lorain County volleyball down at the state.
Yeah, that's long term, I know, but it's a goal of mine, and I'm excited for what we have coming up. I am. With our freshmen and our JV girls, we're kind of taking a look at them so far and just looking at what we have coming up for next year. And we have some great DSs and some great attackers coming up, so I'm excited to work them in there a little bit and just kind of see how all that plays out.
I hope so. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's an absolutely good thing.
Yes, thank you.
Cerise, I got to tell you, your enthusiasm is infectious.
Thank you.
Can I suit up and go play for you?
Of course, of course.
I don't know about that. But again, congratulations on being named the head coach.
Thank
and
you.
Obviously, as I said, you have a real passion for the school and the girls and the sport. So bigger and better things are on the horizon, no doubt about it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Our guest this week on Sports Scene has been Capreece Irby. Boy, how about the enthusiasm that she projects talking about Lady Titan volleyball here at Lorain High. Boy, what a ball of energy. So that's a good thing for the girls on the floor and certainly for the Lorain school system and for the community. We thank Coach Irby for stopping by. We thank you for watching. And until we talk again, so long, everybody.